Hi, I'm Tintin Wisniewski from the Hoover Institution. Hoover's Career Task Force on K-12 education, with the help of some friends, has attempted to project what American education might look like in the year 2030. By that time, today's newborn will become college freshmen. The task of looking so far ahead while refreshing is also quite formidable. We invite you to join us in this predictive video presentation in search for solutions to the challenges that American education faces in the years ahead. For more information about this project, please visit our website at americaneducation2030.com. Herb Walberg is a distinguished visiting fellow at the Hoover Institution, where he specializes in psychology, education policy, and education productivity. He shows and applauds the transformative effects of privatization and vouchers on the education system of 2030.
What I contend is that privatization of the schools will radically transform American education, that is, at least the schools, in the next decades. I think that one of the very best examples of privatization is vouchers. These are scholarships that can be given by wealthy individuals or private firms or even public agencies to children who can then attend any school that they wish. And the schools may include public schools and private schools of the two major kinds, that is, parochial and independent schools. These allow children to cross normal school boundaries to attend the schools that their parents think are the very best for them, and which are not necessarily in the tradition that we've had in this country, where they've been compelled to go to the school only in their neighborhood unless they can't afford the tuition to go to a private school. Another approach to privatization is the provision of funds to transform public schools. One of the best examples I can think of is the O'Donnell Foundation's Advanced Placement Incentive Program in Dallas, Texas, which increased the number of students, high school students, in inner city schools to take college-level examinations, and increased the numbers of students by a factor of more than 10. So it shows that this private initiative, even in the public schools, can have very strong effects. Another good example of partial privatization in this country are the more than 4,000 charter schools in the United States, which are privately governed but are publicly funded. So you have various kinds and degrees of privatization, either the programs within the school or the entire school themselves. Parents know their children best. They certainly know their children better than government bureaucrats and school board officials and others. Parents are allowed in this country to choose their children's names, their food, and their doctors. And they are in the best position to know what school is best for their children. And so this is one of the major reasons for privatization. Another kind of privatization that is taking place in at least 7 states in the United States is tax tuition credits, in which people who send their children to private schools or they have private tutoring for their children can take tax deductions for the fees and supplies and other expenses that are incurred as a consequence. Research on the kinds of privatizations that I've just described to you has been very exciting and very positive, because it suggests that private schools entail only about half the cost of public schools, and yet they are more effective in enhancing learning, and they are much more satisfying to parents. A good example of that are public opinion surveys that show that many parents would prefer to send their children to private schools if they could afford it. And many of the 4,000 charter schools in the United States are oversubscribed. That is to say that there are many, many more applicants than the number of seats that they have to provide for the children. This is really a part of the whole privatization movement that started in the 1970s that exhibited the good results and the cheaper services through privatization than public provision of services because of the competition involved. And when private agencies do not perform well, then people don't use their services and they have to go out of business. This does not, of course, happen with public agencies that tend to stay with the same kinds of traditions that they've had and are very susceptible to special interests of one kind or another. Therefore, I believe that by the year 2030, we will see a much, much greater privatization and, in fact, a kind of creative destruction of the conventional, repeatedly failing public schools in the United States. And I tend to be very optimistic about that.